But the fact is, it's important to be consistent as a taster. That's the most important thing. And people often ask, well, what is it to be a great taster? And a lot of people think, oh, you have amazing taste buds and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, the most important thing to be a great taster is memory. And is to be able to remember what the wine tastes like and how it's structured. And that's really the most important thing. And also remember other wines. When you taste wine, you go, oh, that reminds me of this, or that reminds me of that. And also have references. I think as winemakers, that's probably the biggest fault I see with some winemakers, is they only drink their own wine. And they could never understand what great wine is by being like that. Probably the best people for understanding great wine right now in the world are Australians. The top winemakers are amazing. You go into their houses and their cellars, and they're just full of empty bottles of great Burgundies, Italian wines, Bordeaux, and they're just saying, oh, well, we want to emulate these great wines, but we want the wines to have their own character of where the vineyards are. And I think that that's exactly what people should do, because you need those reference points. I mean, I've probably, in my life, I've tasted many of the greatest wines ever made several times. Anything from 47 Cheval Blanc to 37 Domaine Romanée Conti, or 1865 La Romanée from Bouchard, or all these wines. So when I taste a wine from Tuscany, if I'm tasting this Castellare di Castellina, Poggio di Merli, I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's pure Merlot. How does that compare to Chateau Petrus, the greatest Merlot made? How does that compare to the 61? It's not like, oh, this is a nice Tuscan Merlot, so I'm giving it, 95 points because it's good for Tuscany. That's not good enough. If it's Merlot, it has to be compared to the best in the world. And obviously a lot of Merlots made in Tuscany now are as good as the best in the world. I gave 100 points to the 2001 Massetto, and that's because I was comparing it to 1989 Petrus. And I think that that's important to have reference points like that when you're tasting wines, and all of a sudden it pops into your head, wow, this wine reminds me of this, and then you think of the quality level. So that's sort of how I taste and rate wines. So let's try this one. So Merlot, 2009. You're getting lots of dark fruits and some violets. Again, when I think of violets, I think of Palmerol from Bordeaux. Probably more, not exactly on the top where you have Petrus and Vieux Chateau Certain, but more towards the town where there's a winery like Église Clinée that has lots of violets always. This is a big score for this wine. And wow, I really like it. Again, I haven't tasted, since I tasted it blind. Generally, I taste wines blind too. The wines are sent to my office in Tuscany, and I taste the wines not knowing what they are. And I like doing that because I think that when you're tasting blind, you're not influenced by the label.